Oh, I love this question.
Yeah, don't tell them.
I won't.
Damn, the cat's out of the bag.
Let's go. Let's go.
IRL.
Woo-woo. So Vodafone have invited us to chat about how to be creative in marketing and also how connectivity can help you.
Nice.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm the co-founder of TBC, the search engine for real life. So we show you everything that's happening around you and who's going to what with an AI-powered search engine that lets you pull from every single event site and social. And you can type like, I want to go dancing in East London and find one event. And then you can invite your friends with group chat ready cards.
Oh, wow.
We work with organizers to get their events viral, and we work with creators to take their audiences offline, and then we work with brands to matchmake them to audiences and creators and communities. We started at university, where we built what's now the fastest growing student community app, which is really exciting, and we are the official community app of universities like Oxford University. We're live in several. Organizers this year made $500,000 on our platform.
Wow.
Which is kind of like all students as well. Wow. That's all students just bankrolling it out from their events.
That's amazing.
And from sponsorships.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had a gig like that when I was a student.
Yeah.
So I'm Marisa. I founded Perfect Head with my husband and my brother-in-law. So Perfect Head is the brand on a mission to spread healthy, positive energy through matcha green tea. The reason why we believe so wholeheartedly in matcha is because of the experience I had with matcha. So love what you're doing with Littles. I love that for you, but I realized in college that coffee was actually not my friend. As someone with ADHD and crippling anxiety, I was just struggling continuously with the highs and lows of coffee and energy drinks. And a friend recommended I try matcha. I switched, changed my life so profoundly. So when I moved over to the UK in 2020, I realized I couldn't find it pretty much anywhere. It wasn't in cafes, it wasn't available in supermarkets, and I couldn't get a ready-to-drink beverage that had the type of caffeine that I could actually tolerate. So I guess like anyone would do, 45 days into moving to the UK in 2020, we incorporated a business together, and that's how we started Perfect Head.
I like how you say like anyone would do, start their own business to solve a problem.
It's natural.
Yeah,
Just naturally.
But that's sick. And I want to say I'm personally grateful that you did bring it to the UK as a consumer.
It's genuinely the best feedback I get from people when they say that it helps them feel good and that
Very similar story to me with coffee as well. Love coffee on Friday and Saturday.
Happy to be the punch bag guy. So I'm the evil coffee guy. No, so I run a family business actually. So Littles is a second generation family business, which my parents founded. I now run it along with my wife and a bunch of other amazing people. The business now is essentially a challenger brand in coffee. We're here to kind of give the big boys in the category a bloody nose. I don't think that they've done a good enough job in terms of quality, sustainability, or recruiting new consumers into the category. So there's a void that's being left in the wake of some of those big brands. And I think what you said about matcha is really poignant, because I think a lot of people are moving to, different categories for their energy. And sometimes it's a health benefit thing. Sometimes it's just as a brand thing, because there aren't enough brands in coffee to engage younger consumers. So that's what Littles is here to do. We specialize in flavored coffee. That's our kind of backdoor into the market, because fighting fire with fire is pretty difficult, especially when you don't have big budgets, which I'm sure we'll discuss. And I also founded another company called Roastworks Coffee Company, which is a specialty roastery. Started as a side hustle, not a side hustle now, and now I'm that guy with 2 businesses and 2 kids. So it's busy.
You didn't have your hands full enough before?
No, it's like a masochistic thing. It's like, hey, I'll start another business. Don't do it. Just one's enough, okay?
Do they know that you own both of them?
Like the people that work for me? No, they have no idea. Shh, don't tell them.
I won't.
Damn, the cat's out of the bag.
We actually launched the concept for the brand on Kickstarter. We had really great feedback on Kickstarter, and actually were fully funded and met our funding goal within 24 hours. I think the embarrassing part of that we don't actually talk about is that a lot of those people were our friends. So
well, that's okay.
That's fine, right?
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I think it was either that day or the day after, Teddy got a call. I remember this so vividly. We were sitting at our dining room table and he got a call from a random number He answers it, and he nearly fell out of his chair. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Who is this? What's happening? And he puts it on mute, and he's like, Marisa, it's one of the producers of Dragon's Den. They asked if we can go on the show. And I was like, wait, what? We don't even have a product. We just launched the Kickstarter. What do you mean? And I think that was probably the earliest moment of validation that we had, that there was something here.
There's such pivotal moments, like I remember also getting the email from Dragon's Den, but I think that happens so much later in our journey. Every day I still feel like we're in our infancy, and even though the business is 30-something years old, I've been doing it for nearly 15 years. I just don't feel like we've kind of got going yet. I suppose there's been some real kind of pivotal key moments along the way, and I think, again, those random phone calls are the things that usually remember. And I remember when Sainsbury's rang. We were literally about to run out of money as well. We just moved into a new unit. This was about 10 years ago. And I miscalculated all our costs. The revenue wasn't generating enough profit to cover the overheads. And I was like, this is a disaster. We're going to literally go bankrupt. And then the phone rang, and it was the buyer from Sainsbury's. And he said, hey, I think I've got a slot on the shelf for two products if you guys are game. And I was like, yeah. And that was it. And that's the one and only time a buyer has ever rung me out of the blue like that. It doesn't happen. It's never happened since. And it's weird because I was probably a month or two from running out of cash. Without that, I don't know what would have happened. So that was really validating. And I think that's when I kind of realized that, okay, we're in Sainsbury's now. Things are going to be okay. Little did I know it's really hard work. And,
No, I hear you. I mean, very early on in my journey as well. But I'd say there's been a couple pivotal moments where I've been me and Omar, my co-founder, have looked at each other and been like, okay, we're onto something.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah, one of them was when with tech, you bring out loads of iterations and you're always looking how are people using the product because you get live feedback loops. And we started with just showing every event on campus. We just were able to just really readily upload them. We built this tech that could very easily upload events. So we just showed them all in one place because they were just scattered across all these different platforms. And people kept clicking on the attendees, who's going, and trying to click on people's profiles. And we were like, give the people a profile. Let them see who's going to what. We did that. Everyone could upload all of their social links. So we had on your profile, you can see what the next event someone's going to. You can see their Snap, their Insta. Our downloads shot through the roof.
Sweet.
We were like, okay. And then there was another moment when we got invited to go to San Francisco to meet some of my heroes in Silicon Valley. And it was so cool. And they were like, okay, you're in Stanford. How fast can you launch in Stanford? Go on, do it right now. It took us about 6 minutes. Oh, damn. Okay, so you guys can scale this fast. And we were like, yeah. And then the third thing was when I posted a video. I think it was my third ever TikTok, ever, because I'd never been on these apps.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you weren't in the 300 club for very long then, by the sounds of things. Tell me, what happened?
What is that, where people only get 200 views?
Yeah, right.
Okay, I'm sorry. That sounds tough.
Yeah.
No, of course, I know.
Wait, are you describing your own experience?
No,
with
I
TikTok?
have people close to me that are stuck in the 300
For a friend.
club.
Okay,
Sure.
no,
I don't have a TikTok.
I've definitely posted a video that's got 300 views, to be sure. I put it out there, and it was just talking about this idea of I didn't have social media, and now I'm building this event tech platform to get people off their phones in an actually fun way. Mm-hmm. And I just started seeing my phone, and I was like, well, that's a big number. And I was like, something must be wrong. And it was a couple hours, 700,000 views. And I was like,
wow.
And then my phone started blowing up. We went on the radio, we went on the news. It was mental health week, so everyone was like, she knows about mental, bring her on. She's doing something about mental health. At this point, we were only at Oxford. And then we were like, oh my God, we put a wait list out. We had incoming from the University of Milan, people being like, I'm in Iceland and I can't download the app. And we were like, we didn't even know there were universities in Iceland. And it just blew up. And to this day, sometimes I just email these people and I'm like, guys, I'm really sorry, we're still not in Iceland. Yeah. Hopefully we will be. But we're now at the point where we're taking it beyond campuses. So those people in Iceland, I'm coming for them.
How do you stand out without a big budget?
I'd say that's exactly how you stand out. You do not want a big budget for creativity. I think the more restraints, the better, especially when you have such a big vision, you kind of need restrictions. It's kind of like, to think outside the box, you need a box. The smallest amount of time I have, the more rules, the better, more creative ideas I produce.
Absolutely, and those restrictions are the things that are, ultimately are the inspiring part of it. I think it forces you to really focus in on who your consumer is, what actually matters. I know everyone talks about the 1%, but I think that's one of the mistakes we made over the years so many times is you get led down different paths by different people thinking you need to do loads of different things. Whenever you run a small business, the budget's always small compared to the big competitors in the market. But even, if it's a large proportion of your turnover, or revenue or whatever, like it could be the wrong way to spend that money. So it's like really having those restraints and saying we're only focusing on that channel, only focusing on that consumer, only focusing on that type of storytelling.
It's like relevance rather than reach.
100%. But that's kind of where the magic happens. That's the magic sauce, is having to be really precise and clear. And so I think, I haven't really got much to add to what you're completely right. And I think that you can see it as a hindrance. I used to see it as a hindrance, like, oh, we don't have the budget, like, oh, we can't wrap the bus in London or whatever.
I could not agree more with that point, by the way. You do need the restraints, but I really also think, and I love this, I think I said this to Teddy once, that you don't need pounds, you need personality. Because if you can be an advocate as a founder, or have your founding team as well, get involved without a budget and really just think of, okay, how can we be really big, bold, and cause a commotion? We like to call it curated chaos.
Yeah, I love it.
And we're really intentional about it. And even as budgets increase, we still, to this day, we DIY a ton ourselves, because we find that we get ripped off most of the time from a lot of other kind of contractors or agencies. And we also just bring personality and boldness to everything that we do, unapologetically.
I applied for a competition that is like a 300K budget for a marketing campaign. I was like, what would I even do with that? And I put towards this pitch of this idea. And then I thought with my friend, I was like, what if we were to do this all with 300 quid? Like, imagine, let's just do it. We remade the whole video. I'm going to put it out in a couple weeks. Exactly how I wanted to do it, with like a full DSLR camera crew, like big zooms. Rang up Vodafone. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. The weekend before, and I was like, I'm doing a big shoot. I need to get an iPhone 16. Can you sort me out an upgrade? And the lady, Kathy, was amazing. She was about to go to her.
You remember her name?
Yeah, because we chatted for so long, because it was quite a long spiel to get handing my old phone in. Anyway, we got this iPhone 16 for it just in time. Kathy, legend. And we shot it all on, just me and my friend with an iPhone. And I think now I'm going to apply to that competition with the video and be like, hey, there actually wasn't a submission part of this application, but I've actually made it.
Yeah.
It's kind of better than I would have wanted it to be with the budget.
Okay, so here's one. What's one marketing strategy you wish you'd implemented earlier in your business journey?
We did implement this pretty early on, I guess, relative to how quickly we've grown the team. But something that we've been doubling down on a lot more recently is EGC, not UGC, so not user-generated content, but employee-generated content, because we feel who better than the people that have chosen to join the mission than to spread the gospel of matcha. So even if we're sharing something about a win, they'll also include a lesson in there and how other people can apply that to their roles in their own businesses. Genuinely, because we have doubled down on this so much recently, we've even created a competition amongst our team where everyone gets an award. If actually this whole strategy helps us generate 3 million organic impressions a month.
Wow.
We put no spend behind it, and it's just kind of this engine we've been able to create through our team. It's been a really effective strategy that I wish that we had done from the very, very beginning.
For me, actually, I want to turn that question on its head, because what I've learned in the last probably year to 18 months, which has been so pivotal, is having a marketing strategy. So, like, because it's like, I spent the last 14 years of my 15 years running Littles not having a strategy. And now we've got a proper business strategy, a proper marketing strategy. And it makes so much difference, because otherwise everyone's just stabbing in the dark all the time. So like that then loops in. It allows you to work within those tiny budgets, to be really precise, to find that 1% and activate that community. So like having a marketing strategy, however small you are, but without it, what's your roadmap? How do you know how to get where you need to go?
You need to have a North Star, and you need to also have alignment across your team, and also for yourself, so you don't feel like a headless chicken running around all day trying to do various different things without knowing if it's working or aligned with the broader mission. Also with AI now, you can iterate and kind of have a thought partner who is, a robot, I guess, but smarter than most of us, and you can iterate really quickly.
The biggest misconception in marketing is that it's about making the consumer feel something about the company, when really it's about how the company makes the consumer feel about themselves. Yeah. And I think as soon as I realized that like personal branding, like that is actually not even about you, really. I always say when I'm talking to people about making content, like tell your story, make it specific, like a good Ed Sheeran song lyric. Specificity works, but don't go to the extent to which people are like losing interest.
Yeah.
Pull them in by telling them about your story, but actually it tells them something about themselves.
Yeah, 100%. Marketing isn't creative. Marketing is about understanding your consumer behavior, but it is about worldviews, and it's about understanding how can you make your customers feel something through storytelling.
That's creative.
The storytelling bit is, but then if you don't connect that with the data that comes out of it, you're not doing marketing, you're just doing creative stuff. And I see this all the time when people come to me and say, hey, I want to do marketing for littles. And it's like, let's break this down. Tell me what you think marketing is. And they're like, oh, like social media content creation. It's like, no, that's content creation. That's not marketing. That's a tiny bit of marketing. But that's like me saying, I want to be in marketing, but actually all I want to do is design print ads. Well, now I'm a graphic designer. That's a different discipline. It's a part of marketing. But I think too many young people come through thinking marketing is this really creative thing that, you just post Instagrams all day and TikToks. And it's like, yeah, sure. That's one part of it. But what is your consumer doing? Like, how can you understand their behavior, and how can you effectively storytell that makes them feel something? And then how are you measuring the data, and what are you learning from the data? That's marketing. So I think that, again, took me an embarrassing amount of years to work out.
I think there's a level of creativity at the data side as well, though, because it's like, what are you measuring? I know, I'm being facetious.
It is creative, but I think the problem is we've over-leveraged that marketing's a really creative thing. It's like, yeah, it can be, but it's also about data, it's about consumer behavior.
No, totally.
It's just as much about psychology as it is about creativity, I think.
100%. I think a lot of people feel they need to defer to experts, and I think you can be strategic in what books you read, what kind of content you consume to learn about the discipline. But I also don't think you need to bring in a fancy agency. I don't think you need to hire the most expensive, well-known marketeer in the world. You don't need to bring in a consultancy. I think a lot of the time when you're the founder, you do probably have a strong vision for what the brand should look and feel like, for what products should be out there. But also you then can leverage a community of people that effectively can become almost marketing consultants for you. Totally. If you're watching what they're doing, what your customers and your community are doing, and you take it in, use it as data points, and then feed that back into the way that you show up, then that's better than any money can buy you.
Yeah, totally. I really agree with that. And I think kind of to bring those two together, I would say that it's all about recognizing that each piece of content could have a different data set. So like if you're making it for saves, don't measure downloads or purchases. Like make it for what you want to make it and set that at the start. And then it can change if you're like, actually this pops off, it's got loads of reach, but like how many people click the link? And ultimately, I really believe in actually slow social growth. I think virality and vanity metrics can sometimes blur what's actually happening and not be great for actual business growth. So reach is not the only way. And really, if you're big in a smaller group of people, it's way better than being small in the like whole world.
100%.
But that just on the agencies, like the thing I think is you always think, as a founder or as a small business owner in a startup, you think, how can I fast track this, right? How can I pay money and get the answers quick? And you've got to remember that there are people out there that could definitely help with that. And we've worked with some amazing consultants, amazing agencies. But let's say you take performance marketing, for example. You look at all the agencies that are offering that service. You've got to remember that it's like anything else in life. Like 90% of those agencies will suck. And they'll rinse you of £5,000 a month and you will get nothing for it. And agencies are great when you find the right one. Make sure you know what good looks like. Make sure you know that before you embark.
Give them the guardrails, don't let them
100%. Get advice, get a referral, just because I've spent literally probably hundreds of thousands of pounds over the last 15 years on stuff that just doesn't work, and I shouldn't have spent the money.
I'd also say with working with influencers and like micro, macro is definitely better, especially for a small business, but it's that point of like a really engaged following. And also with regards to agencies that manage micro-influencers and macro-influencers. Some of them are excellent, but it is often good to like actually build relationships with these people because they are creators for a reason and they do really know their audience. And some of the best partnerships I've ever done is just building a relationship with someone that has a big following, kind of irrelevant to the fact that they do. I've met them separately, and then we've sort of seen what each other are building, and then it's like, actually, should we just both talk about what we're doing?
Yeah.
And bring them in on the journey rather than just being like, here's a brief, make it happen.
They need to understand your strategy. They need to be bought into what you're trying to do.
Totally.
Yeah, we do that always, yep.
Oh my, I have so many embarrassing stories about tech. To start, when we first launched our campus product, the App Store hadn't accepted the app. So there was no app. So when you make an app, you have to submit it to Apple and Google, and they will accept it or reject it for various different reasons. They rejected it. And so I was out there promoting an app that did not exist. And I was like, they were like, can we download it? And I was like, maybe next week? Which is really not sticky when you've got someone right there and then and you're like, next week. So we just had to ruffle together, get loads of names and emails. And
what did you do? Did you like pre-sell it then? Did you be like, if you're really,
all of the, exactly, just got everyone's numbers. To this day, I have just like all of these people on my WhatsApp. I was like, yeah, I'm live, get it now, please. But it was chaos. And I mean, we've had loads of crashes at important moments during the early stages of our journey. As we were saying earlier, just putting a human to it straight away and being like, this is really sad for me as well. But we're working on it, I promise.
One story comes to mind when I had the opportunity to speak in front of the kind of leadership growth team at Tesco.
I heard about this.
Oof, that was fun. Spent so much time and energy into crafting the perfect presentation. I practiced my butt off and wanted to feel incredibly prepared. Presentation was beautiful. The transitions were stunning. Visually, it looked incredible. However, it was such a large file because of all of the graphics and the videos and the transitions that it would not load. So the slides were getting stuck and I was like fumbling, and there was just a point when pretty early on to pivot and basically say, okay, screw it, I'm not using the slides. We're just gonna speak from the heart here. And I actually think it worked so much better for me because I was speaking my story about how I found basically the backstory to my ADHD and anxiety diagnosis and how mental health has been such a massive part of my life and my family. And I was like, I think what has resonated most throughout our journey is that my story is real and it's authentic and it's raw. And I'm very open about how many screw-ups that we've had and how, I struggled with depression last summer. I publicized that on LinkedIn. It's one of my most viral posts, actually, because I think people do tend to suffer in silence and they don't like to talk about it because it's not, you don't get the glory from that. But I do think you can help people if you are honest. And
the PowerPoint wouldn't have helped tell that story.
Exactly.
Right?
And it actually almost improved my point in saying, look, you can't control external circumstances all the time. You can only control how you
made it part of the story.
Exactly.
You can control what matcha you drank.
And which matcha Tesco list. But I think they appreciated how authentically I was able to deliver that because I was like, look, life happens. You just have to be willing to respond to it positively.
That's good.
That's beautiful.
I've got nothing to add to that.
Yeah, mic drop. The biggest unlock in terms of tech for our company was when we built this AI that was able to sort of scrape and standardize event data and pull it all into our platform so fast. As I said before, like the Sky Scanner for events.
Yeah.
And being able to do that and the impact that that's had on showing people how it works and how quickly we could launch like at Stanford, for example, and other spaces. And now I just whip it out and I'm like, right, people need a plan. And I'm like, okay, I'll just find one for you straight away. Whilst everyone in the world of AI is like, here's how you can save time and here's how you can, get better at this. We're like, here's how you can spend your time better. We're really trying to use AI for IRL. And I think the tech that we've built to facilitate that is super exciting.
Yeah.
I love that. I think I have a good example, not consumer facing, but more internally, agentification of the team. So identifying areas of like pretty repetitive tasks that take up a lot of time. For instance, order processing, get so many different order forms. And we have one email inbox that receives all of them. We're basically thinking, okay, how can we remove 5 hours a day from Jody, our incredible ops manager's schedule, and give that time back to her to find, improve efficiencies within our supply chain and agentify the whole process. And we're basically doing that right now. We're auditing every area of the business where we can just level up with agents.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought in something because I feel a bit of a Luddite when it comes to using tech on the sort of more sort of consumer-facing side of it. But as a manufacturer, we've got the same challenge. So we're looking at, upgrading our sort of basically the system that runs the business. And also on the manufacturing side, our factory, we just set up a new facility a year and a half ago for our Nespresso capsules. So brought that production in-house. We were using a third-party manufacturer, and we're having so much fun that we decided to do it ourselves. It was a big investment, but in doing so, it allowed us to really think about what kind of factory do we want to set up and how much do we want to invest in new technology to make that factory run more efficiently and have data, crucially, to understand what the efficiency of that factory is. So we spent extra money on that. It also partly allowed us to make the B Corp journey that we've just, I feel like I'm pitching now, I'm selling. We just got B Corp.
Sell away.
Well done. That's a huge accomplishment.
It is.
It takes a while.
Like, it was a lot of work, and my wife, Caro, she did all the hard work. She's a weapon when it comes to stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of, so ours isn't like, you're in the tech game, so it's completely different. We sell jars of coffee, so it's like, tech for us is more about how efficiently can we make the product and how much data can we get.
Love that.
The education and sort of information I bring on board to make sure I'm making the right decisions, driving the right decisions in the business with things like performance marketing is just, I'm a big fan of podcasts. I'm a big fan of audiobooks. So I like slap on a podcast and I use it as my little university session. And then it's about that real world networking, asking people what they recommend. I'm a big fan of just getting in front of people that run businesses and just sharing ideas and getting advice. And it's straight away the conversation goes to, oh, have you heard of these guys? Yeah, we use them. They were terrible. Don't do it. Oh, great. Well, that takes that one off. So, and I think that's really, that's it really. So like I say, I use this kind of like this commute university session as my kind of building my knowledge of things generally. And then I'm a big believer in just asking people, there's someone out there that's done that before.
Asking for and receiving advice is really crucial, but I also think you need to be very specific with who you accept advice from.
True.
Because not all advice is created equally.
No,
in my
not.
experience.
Yeah.
If we had taken advice from an incredibly well-known person within food and beverage to not launch in Holland and Barrett back in 2021 when we were a month into launching our energy drinks and had no idea what we were doing. Holland and Barrett came around and said, we'd love to list you in 400 stores. This person, who is very credible, said, don't do it. It will drive your business into the ground. And
why?
For a few reasons. And they had valid points. One of them being the resources involved in helping get that listing live and in production. I mean, the capital required was massive for us at the time.
Yeah.
But truthfully, I think sometimes you just have to listen to your gut.
Yeah.
And if you are a founder with a strong vision but you're also the customer, I was actually thinking about it from a customer lens because I needed the product, right? I created this for myself. So I thought, okay, I have a Holland and Barrett on my street. If it's gonna be there, then we're doing this because I want to buy it.
As opposed to a couple of hundred farm shops that no one really ever goes to. Yeah, because that's usually the advice, isn't it? Start in farm shops and indies and then work your way up and up.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we totally took the playbook and ripped it up. And actually that has been the biggest benefit to our business is having insight into what the norm is, but not following it.
I think on that, probably the best advice I've ever been given is don't listen to all advice and just take it from someone that either knows you really well or knows your sector really well. And everything else is kind of noise, really. And so I feel very lucky that I have a mentor, or a few actually. One of my mentors is one of the creative strategists at Flight Story, who's an exceptional woman called Pollyanna, who I talk with every other week and we just discuss ideas. And she's been so helpful with understanding the strategy behind marketing. And then the other is the founder of Let's Do This, which is a sports tech company. And those two people in my life have changed my brain chemistry, and because they really understand their areas and they've gotten to know me, which is like crucial two things. To make the best decisions, I actually just need like less information right now.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to step back and be like, hold on, George, like you used to think for yourself. Like, how would you make this decision if you couldn't find the answer straight away? And remove the urgency, remove the immediacy of the answer a bit, to be like, struggle through this for a second and see if you can figure it out. Because I think I'm losing my capacity to do that.
I think it's really, so there's two different things here. This is not quick fire, but there's two different things. There's how do you make sure that you are driving the right business decisions intuitively?
Yeah.
And how do you make sure that your entrepreneurial flair is still there? I think that's a different thing. I completely agree with you. There's a different thing to how do I know I'm going with the right performance marketing agency? And that's where I like to think, well, I need to educate myself about the world of, let's say, performance marketing. And that's where things like podcasts and things come in handy. And then it's about like, you know, I'm going to name drop, but there's a software called Unleashed, which is for manufacturing businesses, which we're looking at using. And
We use it.
There you go. Thank you. Whew, that's a relief.
Recommend.
Well, great.
There
you
you
go.
go.
So we're going to have a conversation later.
Perfect example of this happening IRL.
Because I don't know if
IRL.
But it's like we're going to have a conversation in a minute about, hey, what's your experience with Unleashed? Can it do, what's it like with BOM and what's it like with silos and blah blah blah. So like, and it's the nitty gritty stuff that I need to talk to people about. But I totally agree. I do not want to run my business by committee, and I certainly don't want to be thinking, oh, but Rory Sutherland said this thing and Steve Bartlett said that thing, and I'm like, it's my business. They don't know my business. I need to have that intuition. I have to have that, and it's really important, I think, to keep that kind of that gut instinct and that sort of fire alive. I think.
With that perfect point to close it out. I love it. Guys, can I just say that was the most fun I've ever had on a panel, at a talk, anything. Honestly, you guys are amazing.